Now, dogs were what I saw the biggest glitches in. Them dogs would go inside of walls. Like, I hit a dog, and if there was a wall near, he'd be halfway in, halfway out.
Not apologetic. Nonsense.
I have lured you here under false pretenses today.
Okay.
I told you we were doing a normal filming, correct?
Yep.
And I told you a topic, correct?
Yep.
It was all a lie. I am calling you out today for a pattern of behavior that I think is destructive and toxic that you seem to be continuing. Do you know what I'm about to talk about?
No.
All right, here we go. We wait a year for this new Souls-like to come out. Lords of the Fallen, right?
Right.
So we start playing it at the same time. Every couple days, I'm checking the trophies, right? So I can see maybe you're further than me. Maybe, not like a race, but just like, where you at? What are you doing? About a week ago, I noticed your trophies quit updating, which means it seems that Lords of the Fallen may be yet another victim of you quitting a game after devoting an immense amount of time to it. What do you have to say for yourself?
I just got off a 7-day work week. That's why I haven't played.
You didn't quit the game?
No.
Oh.
Just work 7 days straight.
Apparently I have been called
shifts,
out.
So I go home, eat something, maybe watch a little TV and pass out.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, I thought you were doing, for anyone who I don't look like, a little bit of context to where I don't look like such an asshole, but this guy's known for putting 10, 20 hours into a game and just being like, yeah, squirrel, and then never coming back to it, right?
Yeah, I am a game whore.
Or starting or doing it 20 hours and going, I don't like that decision I made, and then starting the game from scratch.
Yep.
All right, well, that's fun. So I do... Either way, we both spent a decent...
Didn't go the way you thought it would, was it?
No, I might as well just rip my piece of paper out because all of my little pokes I was going to give you are now null and void. But either way, we have both spent a little amount of time on it. I think it showed you had played a couple dozen hours.
Yeah.
I have beaten it.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Last night I did, that was my show prep.
Oh.
I thought if I was going to talk some shit, I needed to wipe out that final boss. You know what I mean? But I thought maybe we could go through the good and the bad because this is getting such hard critiques.
It is.
Right? So many people like us were like, oh, Souls-like. But also I think a lot of people were under the false pretense that this was going to be like Elden Ring. Elden Ring is a Souls-like, but it's fun. It's bright.
Yeah.
This is Dark Souls. You know what I mean? This is dark. This is gloomy. This is dirty, grimy, But it did have its bad. So what I have done, the little bit of my notes I can use, is I've devised a list of the good and the bad, and also the glitches I encountered during my times of Lords of the Fallen. Good things... that they tried doing something different with a Souls-like. So the seedling system, okay, yeah. Where you'll come across these essentially checkpoints. And if you have the item, you can use it and develop an artificial checkpoint for yourself all over the game.
Yeah.
Except, especially once you get further in the game, they start putting these in dumb locations. So you'll be I only got 2 of these items, 2 seeds, right? And you'll pull that thing out of the ground. And then you'll walk around the corner, and there's your regular vestige save point. And it's really, what is the point? To save me 6 steps? That happened 10 times throughout the game. So it's just ridiculous. Or it's 10 feet away from a shortcut, So I think the system's real good. I like that they didn't just try to be Dark Souls. They tried to do something different as well. I hated this for my first 10 hours of play, the Umbra world. Going into that secondary world and having a timer and all this stuff. And then the panic of you die and you go into that world and you're oh, now I got to run and I got to quickly try to find a way to get out of here.
If the more you fight, the more your meter builds up, and then
the red bastard
already
comes.
Gives you 25,000.
Yeah, I did see there was a way that you could farm him by just throwing him off a ledge, and people were doing that. I never really tried it. Here's the real bad thing, and this is what's going to turn off and probably has turned off a lot of people, is that it took me probably, I don't know, 15 hours of gameplay to really start liking it. You know, I was kind of like, oh, this is janky. This doesn't work. Oh, this is, you know. But once I got probably about 15, maybe even 20 hours into it, it became a truly awesome game. Like, I enjoyed the experience. It was addicting. I thought their world design was great, but their environments, a little hard to see with all of our lights on in here, but their world is just absolutely beautiful. Hit that right arrow on yours. You see what I mean? Like the contrast between the fire and the enemies, you know, like this is the spurned purgency, something along those effects. But I thought the enemies were great. The maps were great. I actually thought the combat works. I found a sword fairly early on, and it carried me all the way through the end game.
Is it the Crimson or?
Don't know the name of it. I could check, but offhand, I really don't know. Also, in this one, just like in Souls games, I found 2 hidden areas, like not little areas, like multi-hour areas, that if you didn't find a key and then search for where that goes to and go sort of out of zone, out of pocket, that you wouldn't find. There was one point where I had 4 vestiges, 4 save points at the beginning of areas, and I didn't know which one to go to. I didn't know what was the natural progression of the game. So I just have to pick one. And like I thought that was great. The bosses in this game are the best out of any Souls-like that isn't a Souls game. Like, they are fantastic, but they do this sort of bitch thing where they'll put a boss and then you'll grind and you'll beat that boss and then you'll walk 15 foot and then it's another boss.
Oh, shit.
That's happened to me multiple times. I know it's happened to you once. I saw in the trophies that where you fall, you walk over that bridge and you fall, and you had just got done fighting the wolf bitch right before that. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot throughout the game, you know. The version that they have of the Mimic, the little item you go to get, and then the thing pops out.
Oh yeah, I saw a video on it. Somebody talking about it. Watch out for, because the items are like straight, but this one it like sways real bad.
It's tricky because they sway. Your normal ones sway. Like if you watch them, but the mimics, like they're faster. All over the place. But you can do that soul flame move where you like pull your lamp out and hold R2 and it'll.
Oh yeah.
And that'll whip them out. I didn't find out about that till the last area of the game. I thought just that's a mimic. I don't get that item. There are these red knights in this fucking game. They're skeletons, and they have sort of a red thing tossed over them, and they'll like glow yellow, and they have these big spears. And you're going to see them throughout the game, and they're going to start off difficult, and they're going to get more difficult. They're going to get more difficult. I refused to fight those fucking enemies. Because what they would do is they would place that enemy. That enemy's a health drainer. So you're going to run through all your flask, right? Fighting that enemy. And then that makes it to where it artificially inflates the difficulty of the next area. I ain't having none of that bullshit. So what I did was I took advantage of poison, dude. My stuff throughout most of this game was poison, poison, poison. So I got the poison grenades, right? And I see an enemy.
I just got the...
And I chuck it at them, and it doesn't aggro them. So I can just chill back, play on my phone for 30 seconds until they die. I did that shit on multiple bosses. There's some bosses that when you walk in the boss arena and it pops up their health bar, they don't aggro until you walk forward a little bit. Anytime I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, fuck you. And they just die. Or, like, one of the hardest bosses in the game, not going to tell you their name because you're still on your journey, but I will show you a picture of them. That one right there, anybody who's played this will know exactly what that is. I found this bitch when I had like 2 health left, right? After a real difficult area. I couldn't turn around. It's hard to describe without spoiling anything. But, so I walk into the boss arena, and she's coming at me. I just start chucking poison at her till she's poisoned. And then I just did laps around the arena. And that was how I tackled that hard boss. The final boss, like I say, I won't spoil anything. It is such a letdown. And the ending was just like credits roll. Like, yeah. Now, apparently there's like 6 different endings, 4, I don't know. But they all have different boss fights, different bosses for the ending. I vaguely looked it up after I got through it, you know, so that's pretty different. Cool. Yeah. And there's all these different quest lines you can do. Now, the game is obviously not finished, right? Glitches everywhere.
Oh, yeah, it's crashed several times on me.
Yeah, I've had it crash just once or twice in the early game. Apparently, when it starts doing that skip stutter, losing frames, that's a memory issue, which has something to do with you've opened up your menu so many times and it triggers something. So if you exit out the game and come back, and the good thing is you can close out your game, like standing anywhere, and it'll start you right there. It's not going to start you at like the previous save point.
Right.
Now, dogs were what I saw the biggest glitches in. Them dogs would go inside of walls. Like, I hit a dog, and if there was a wall near, he'd be halfway in, halfway out. Not able to do anything, right? That was the craziest thing. It was always dogs. Or, throughout the entire time, when you go to cock back to throw, like, the poison or the grenades, you see an arch, right? Showing you the trajectory. I had no arch to one of the last levels. So I would go back, and I would have to look down his fist. Oh, that didn't do it. You know what I mean? If you're not close enough that you can lock on, like if I'm trying to gank someone with poison from a distance.
I think last night I was trying to play. So I'm stuck on this boss.
Is it the Hush Saint?
Dude on a horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I knew that was where you were at, so much so I grabbed this photo. This is the boss you're stuck at. Yeah. I noticed because you hadn't gotten that trophy, and that would have been your next progression trophy. Yeah, I never tried to summon anyone. I did try to get summoned in, to help people with bosses, and I got to a point where I just leave that shit on. I'd leave it on for hours, and I would never get pulled in anyone's game.
Mine was on for about an hour and a half. I just kept trying it myself to beat that guy, and nothing.
Yeah, I tried it with crossplay on. I read you need to take crossplay off. I tried that. I tried invading people. Nothing ever happened. Now, hopefully, like if you, I can help you with that, and hopefully, I assume they have a password system for friends.
Well,
maybe that'll work better.
In the option, in the multiplayer options, you can just summon someone random, or you can summon directly from like your friends list on your PlayStation.
Okay, so hopefully that creates a direct link, and that works a little better than the other system. But yeah, I'd say I probably fought 40 bosses, and if I had to give this game a rating, the beginning of the game is a 5. Once you get past the beginning of the game, I'm going to give this thing a solid like 8.2. This is a home run if you get into the game, but that's of course going to fuck them because no one's going to get into it. They did sell over 1 million units already though. So hopefully we get another one or another offering from them. Today's episode did not work out in the way I thought it would. I had so many zingers I was throwing at you. You were going to go home and clean your period panties. But Lords of the Fallen is great. If you haven't checked it out, don't believe the hype. If you're into Souls games, you're really going to like it. If you're not into Souls games and you only like Elden Ring, just fuck off. This type of game isn't for you anyways, for the big dogs.
Non-apologetic nonsense.